Hello everyone. This is a video that I'm not used to do, so I hope you will compromise any clunkiness, any sign of despair and hesitation that I display to the audience. In all cases, I will speak a little bit about my country, which is France, because I have a few things to say about it. I address this video to tourists, to migrants, and to all people of all fields that are interested about cultural and let's say economical traits of my country. So, to start with what is important, um, you may know that culturally, psychologically even, French people are quite special compared to the rest of the world. Um, it comes from the fact we are a rare country in the sense that we had a long history. We used to be a worldwide power, and we used to be the main power of Europe at the time, and Europe was all that existed in the Middle Age, basically. Basically, so we have people with a lot of pride, with a lot of self-conscious about their history, and we are economically relatively rich. So don't mind the noise, it will be my cat, and it is something to expect when one starts a video that the cat makes some noise to disturb the audience. So let's continue. French people are special. They are known to be cold, to be relatively smart, all things considered, which is not true on every aspect, but in general it is quite true because we are quite educated. We have decent, I would say, intellectuals, decent models to imitate in the public sphere. So, all in all, French people, you might come to them as feeling a bit unsettled because we are not very extrovert. We are rarely like very social like Americans can be. We are more individualistic. We are more honest in a way, but also a lot less based on the display of emotions. We are more quiet, more depressed. Basically, we are kind of sad people. It's I don't fear to say it's a cultural trait that we are kind of always moody, always seeking and dreaming about something better, even though we have a lot of good things. But spiritually, we are not fulfilled at all. That's it. Because we have material wealth, we have good housing, good food, good infrastructures, streets are decently clean, and we can have everyone can have a car and good furnitures and so on. So basically, we no one is starving in France. No one is having excessive difficulties to sustain his life. I don't say it's easy for everyone. It's not at all easy. But we are not poor. We are not struggling. We are not always relying on exterior help to sustain ourselves. However, we are very, very split in our national community because we don't have a face anymore. Not a face, but with my accent, it will be hard to understand. We don't have a religion anymore. Some may argue it's a good thing. It's something to debate about. We don't, but the thing is, we are not united by a belief in God. We are not united by a feeling of global community. This means we are split between races and between social status. There is a tradition of like a war between lower and higher status in a way that is linked to communism, linked to Marxism, and the influences it had in the past as well. And it's also oddly linked to Christianism as well, uh, where in France, wealthiness is not valued at all, at least in public. It's not like the USA. Generally, French people can get mad, or kind of often dead, when they see astonishingly rich people outside. Um, Being rich is something that we culturally don't really like. We don't really promote it because French people in general tend to believe rich is a skill. You cannot be rich without being lucky or uh, evil or just selfish in a way, because you have to rob somebody else to have more wealth than he has. It's a bit of mixed Christianism, moral Christianism, because Christianism is dead in France, and the principle of egalitarianism, which is still strong in France as well. Um, so yeah, we are quite old on that aspect. We don't really like to see people succeeding too much. It's a weird feeling for us because life in France is quite troublesome. Um, Sometimes just to earn a wage. You may know that we have quite a high rate of unemployment. Um, to compensate for that, we have enormous social help, enormous social uh, fees and taxes and everything that is needed to make people sustain themselves, even if the economical system is not favorable to business and to new opportunities. So it's like a parachute, or it's like a shield for people to not die, not lack anything, not get ill and not being able to cure themselves, even though they lack enough money. The downside of it is that an enormous amount of our money, public money, is spent on helping people who basically have really, mm, really low um, productivity for the country. So Wakanda is in this state that is called quite socialist by all standards, where we are under heavy tax all the all the all the time for everything, whatever your social status is, basically. But if you're middle class, you're struggling a lot with taxes in France, um, and we have that feeling that it is wasted to basically give a social shield to people that could be doing something better if the money was used to invest instead in infrastructures and industries and so on. So basically, what you have to know is that in France, we are 67 million people. Only 25 millions of these people are actually workers. And considering the amount of bullshit jobs and artificial jobs that there is in France, you can easily argue that there is only 10 million people that are producing any wealth in our country. And with that, by the way, I don't belong to these people. I am absolutely useless as well. Um, but with that, I mean that France is very, very, very hampered and handicapped by this socialist state of mind. It means we had a lot of wealth before, and now we still have it, but it's declining slowly and slowly, and people are starting to feel it. Life is becoming harder, and we postpone the time that we have to face it. So it's like a gradual breakdown. It's not happening all at once, but we see our comfort of life is decreasing, and we see whatever we do is not increasing uh, by any means, and it will continue like that. And it's something that every French people kind of feel, even though they're not always conscious of it. It's part of the climate um, of disappointment that there is in France. People don't see the future very brightly. They expect a lower status of life for everyone in the future, and they're quite right about it. And all these social helps, all these um, parachutes that we place for people to uh, keep an artificially high standard of life is just burning out all our money, basically. Um, and we are making a credit on the future for that. And among the youth, among the young people of France, it's quite a common conception. Many people are aware of it because back in the day you could buy a house um, with a wage that you have spared over 2 years or 3 years. Nowadays you have to make a credit for 25 years to buy a mediocre house anywhere. So the young people is quite feeling this toll on them, whereas the old people of France are basically having all the levels of power and are quite unconscious of the social struggle, I may say. It depends of them, but generally the power is more balanced towards the older generations. So um, I'm quite losing myself in my explanation because I want to speak about everything at once and I don't have any paper and it's not my native language. But just to make a quick introduction about French people, I think it's not too bad. Naturally, I would prefer if I had questions to answer too. So if I publish this video, which I'm not sure I will do, feel free to ask questions so that I will feel more comfortable giving precise answers to it about whatever you want to know about France. And there is a lot to say. It's quite interesting, often, and I will be very pleased to speak about my country for whatever purpose, even to praise it or to criticize it. But we are quite a unique country, so it's always a pleasure to share a little bit of what makes our identity today, even though this identity can be very hard to grasp for foreigners, even for nationals, it can be hard to grasp. So I will stop this video here because if it drags for too long and I have no paper and I improvise, it will be very tiresome for you to listen to me. But I'll gladly answer any questions for you later if by any chance anyone watches this video. So I say see you soon, and have a good day.